last month ahead. If you are a Libra, Virgo, or Capricorn, those are already up on my page, so check it out. But let's see what this one's going to be. Pisces. Okay, Pisces. So what we're going to do is we're going to see basically how your June went, just so you can really make sure that this reading is for you, and then we'll get into July. So, source, what was Pisces going through in June? What was Pisces going through in June? Their perspective. Oh, so June was rough. June was rough for you guys. We'll get your emotion as well. The Six of Pentacles in reverse being the first one out. You were focusing on things that you felt were one-sided, conditional, made you feel used, taken advantage of. It can sometimes be a card about theft. And especially with justice in reverse here, something that feels like a negative karmic connection or lesson, something you maybe have been telling yourself you've been failing to see for a very long time, especially if you're feeling taken advantage of, could have really hit you in June. How much you've been taking advantage of, you could be a little hard on yourself right now, being like, why didn't I walk away sooner? Why didn't I see this lesson? Blah, 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 whatever it is. But Emperor in reverse, there's a control element to what's going on here. The lack of control, which is really flaring. Again, I think it just aligns with what I was saying a minute ago, that if you had taken control of this situation earlier, it wouldn't be happening. But I don't know. We'll just have to get another one for that. There's just a lot of, I'm hearing like missed opportunities, but I think you feel like it's more than that. Like it almost feels like some sort of wool's been lifted from the eyes here. All right. What's the Six of Pentacles in reverse that you were focusing on in June? High Priest, that perfectly confirms it. Literally, you're telling yourself, like, how did I not see this? Why didn't I see this? Why was my intuition blocked? I saw this coming. I think you're even telling yourself, like, yeah, of course it was like this. You know, X, Y, and Z, you're going through the memory vault and you're going, they did this happened, blah, 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 blah. Like, I saw it when it happened and I didn't trust myself, right? And again, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. We're just confirming your energy. But the High Priestess, she's the ultimate when it comes to intuition. She is so connected to her higher self. She stands at the gates of mysticism. And what's funny is Pisces, that is 100% Pisces energy, Piscean energy, the gatekeeper of mysticism, the one that stands in between the veil, right? She sits between both worlds, and that is, again, Piscean. So I think you're just giving yourself a hard time right now. I'm just going to say it. But especially with the Mercury retrogrades being in water, I think a lot of your mysticism, your belief in yourself has really been challenged by whatever you've been focusing on in June. Let's get this Justice in reverse, because that's also negative self-talk. Yeah, Page of Swords in reverse. So something that's been very flippant, nothing to say. There's been a lot of gossip around. Really goes back to you going into your mind and being like, no, this happened, then this happened, then this happened. And I knew at the time it was bad for me and I didn't listen and I didn't pay attention. And like, why would I do that, right? Oh, what's this Emperor in reverse? It could be about like a father figure or a masculine energy in your life, yang energy. The Magician upright. So at some point, something that you really truly saw as a manifestation or something you believe you called in with your High Priestess energy. But now it's like, I think you're trying to pivot and control a new destiny, a new manifestation, a new dream. Let's get one more for really what that situation is. To this collective. Queen of Wands in reverse, something very temperamental, stubborn, my way or the highway. And in an odd way, with you being like, of course I like this was like this. Why didn't I listen to myself? Like, you're also adding to it that whatever the situation was, like, it's just all these red flags where you're like, why did I listen? But if someone is controlling and temperamental, my way or the highway, like, kind of flies off at the handle, it's got a mouth on them. And at one point you were like, very connected to this person. You weren't seeing the red flags. That's kind of how the beginning of relationships or, love or we can be blinded to the red flags. And it takes quite a while to see those, especially in new friends and new love interests. Like 9 months to a year is when everybody's on their best behavior, right? So, Nine of Swords in reverse. Like, just try to give yourself grace. We're going to get into July, but I actually just intuitively feel like you're not doing anything wrong. You didn't do, like, this is clearly a lesson you need to learn, but I don't think you're like, last in your class when it comes to stuff like this. This is kind of a very typical way for people to see, especially someone who's really hurt us, to be like, oh, I saw the signs and I didn't listen. Because what is guilt going to do? You're guilting and shaming yourself into making this mistake again because you're not trusting in yourself in the current moment of just having the emotion. All right, so June, what was the overall baseline for June? Passion for Pisces. Healing. Right. So you really put a lot of eggs in your basket on this one, but you thought this was, going to be putting yourself first. It's a little bit of both. I think the passion was here for whatever this is, whoever this is, whatever situation, especially with the wands. But now you're really trying to heal. And I feel like there's a little bit of trying to move through this too quickly, if I'm being honest, but we'll see. One more. The uncertainty. Yeah. And this has just been such a theme in all the month aheads and also in the collectives I've done for the past, 3 weeks, is that there's an urgency in the energy to move on from the emotion as quickly as possible because it's really intense right now with the retrograde we're in and all the other alignments. But that's really one of the tests is, do we feel our emotions in the way that is necessary for them to be processed correctly? Or do we just skirt that sort of more uncomfortable state and perpetuate a cycle, right? Okay, so let's see what is being triggered in your karmic contract right now for June and July. Face what you've avoided. What was I just saying about the avoiding of emotion? And again, I don't think you're doing it consciously. I think it's a survival mechanism. We're going to get a shadow card here in a minute. It says avoidance is a chain in disguise. What you're not willing to face still controls you. Bullseye. Couldn't be more on the money. And again, in that, like, you're not doing something wrong. We just want you to do more of what is right. Because guilt is useful insofar that it is instructive, but shame, which is what you're building by beating yourself up and not feeling your emotions, that is a self-fulfilling prophecy of helplessness. And what is that going to do for your future? Do you know what I mean? All right, so what gateway are they trying to activate for you right now? 2. Heart of Source and Venusian Galactic Council. Sorry, these cards are kind of intense. I'm not making, if that's someone's like, spiritual path, I'm not laughing at that. It just seems very, very sci-fi to me. All-encompassing love, unconditional acceptance, and serenity. Love that, heart source. But then the Venusian Galactic Council. You could really be into like alien. I mean, you're a Pisces, so you're probably into all the things, right? I have a Pisces moon, so I get it. Like you're probably into the aliens and the, other world beings and the 5D creatures and all the different types of, angels, which I love it. I love it. It's just not one of my things. So star being guides, answer the call, time to shine. It's what they're trying to activate within you. Your actual spiritual guidance. Like if you think that your spiritual guidance is there to help you in your love life and help you with your friends, it's not. It's about returning to self and returning to oneness, not finding oneness, because you've always been one. You've always been connected, right? We're all connected. We are all our creator. We are all one. But it's remembering that. It's coming back to self and understanding that you are complete and you are never incomplete, right? That's what a spiritual journey is about. It's understanding you don't have to look outside yourself for anything, that even when you're going through things that are very uncomfortable and very sad and very, disappointing, that you will still walk away as complete as you were before that thing happened in every lifetime, right? Love is an endless, bottomless pit that emanates from us. It's not something that we have to perpetually fill up with other people and situations, right? They're trying to remind you of that right now. But let's see what's being activated in your shadow. One more. envy wound with material attachment. So you're comparing to other people, which is getting truly in, like, I can't think of something that's more the opposite of a spiritual awakening than material possessions and materialism or overconsumption. So I'm hearing this, right? And again, I'm not saying this because I think you're a bad person, but I'm not a sugarcoater, and I have to say what's on my mind or what I hear and what I see. If you're the type of person that, because of how connected you are to source and creator and universal energy, that you've been doing the thing where you've been really buying a lot of, or trying to acquire a lot of, spiritual things, the candles, the crystals, the books, the cards, whatever, in excess, it's really detaching you and removing you from your lessons in a very, very destructive way. Because if you feel like, oh, I'm a high priestess, I should have known this, I asked my cards and they never gave me an indication, that's because you're using all of these physical tools, which are not necessary, in order to listen to your higher self, which you have access to at any time, right? That's what's coming to my mind. Like, I was seeing a room with like the crystals and the chandeliers and the cards and the candles and the incense and all the things. And I'm not saying, I obviously have all the things too, but if you're using it to prop up your spiritual self, that's why it's not working. That's why your cards didn't tell you what was going on, because you always knew. High Priestess does not require a constant tarot session or the crystals or whatever. She has her grimoire, but she keeps it hidden. She only takes it out for herself when it's 100% needed. And a grimoire is a book of spells. It is not a trunk or a drawer full of paraphernalia. Do you know what I mean? It says, will show up as placing your self-worth in what you own, causing fear of loss, anxiety, and constant need for more. It often stems from the belief that possessions define the value, hindering inner peace and fulfillment. And you could be doing the thing too, where in order to elevate yourself from whatever happened in June, you're like, oh, I'm a high priestess, I'm a witch, I'm a wizard, I'm an oracle, I'm a siren, look at what I've created. Like, and that is, you're stepping off the path, bestie. So just be mindful of it, right? You're going to know that whether or not that's true for you, but that's what's coming to my mind. And I think it's really true because of this envy wound. So you're comparing to people online, you're comparing to people in your life, you're comparing to people who should be triggering you into recognizing your greatness, not triggering you into feeling like you don't have worth. My advice already before we get into July, get offline. Get offline, stop consuming the content about the overconsumption. If you think overconsumption doesn't hit the spiritual community, you are so not tapped in, right? Like, you cannot buy a spiritual awakening. You cannot, there's no amount of decks and candles and scents and crystals and jewelry and blah, blah, blah that's going to make you any more spiritual than anybody else. Those are just sometimes things that I say this all the time. I feel like I need to tell it to you because you may either don't know this or have forgotten this. The spells, the spell work, like as someone who has done spell work and like will sometimes do it, it is not about what you mix in a bowl, light on fire, what you write on a candle, what you put on a piece of paper. None of that does fucking anything. It doesn't do a single fucking thing. What it does do, the ritual of preparing things actually tells your body what to transmute when it comes to energy. We are the spell. Our vessel is the spell. Nothing in the external world outside of ourself does anything when it comes to energy. All it does is tell the body, again, what code to input unconsciously so that we can send out our intentions into the universe. And anybody who disagrees with me hasn't been doing spell work long enough to fucking understand that, because the ultimate and the highest levels of spell work are thought and words. It has nothing to do with any of the physical surroundings. Okay? I can promise you that. And ask any actual oracle. You're not going to see them online. You're not going to see them, making videos about how to get your ex back with a bottle spell. None of that, right? I'm talking about like what you mostly see in mainstream media, other cultures aside. It has nothing to do with physical attainment of ingredients and the ritual at hand and the, how tightly you tie the string around the candle. None of that matters. It's your body that transmutes the energy. It's your will that transmutes the energy. It's coming back to self and understanding you are complete with any of that shit. And on top of it, I'll add, one of the tenets of actual spell work has nothing to do with buying your materials. It's all about what you come across in the wild and what the divine sends you. So it takes witches and real oracles decades to find certain ingredients for spells to tell the body how to transmute energy, right? So if you're online, you're adding things to the shopping cart because you're trying to, shift this. They're trying to get you to come back to yourself and let go of the envy and the material attachments that are propping up the disconnection from your higher self, right? Just a little bit of tough love, but you need to hear it. I've made the mistake. I'm not saying this because I've never made the mistake. I'm saying because I've walked down this path and made the mistake several times. I've learned better, right? Okay, so let's just see what this first week of July has looked like for you, and then what the last 3 weeks of July will look like for you as of right now. But energy can and will change, so we'll just see. All right, so first week of July for this beautiful collective. New perspective. Beautiful. Love it. Maybe I was giving you a hard time for nothing. An uncluttered life. Oh, you're doing your homework already. You're doing your homework already. So as I was talking, you're like, yep, I'm doing that. I'm doing that. No, I know. I learned. You might even have gotten a little irritated with me, assuming that you weren't doing it. Because look at this. New perspective. Releasing materialism and attachments. You're ahead of the curve because you're the mystic, right? You know your lessons. You know what the divine is trying to get you to do. And clearly you're doing it. Love that. You're reevaluating your priorities. You're having minimalism. Less is more. You're releasing. And this is a new awakening, a perspective. You're surrendering. You're releasing. You're letting go. I love that. Love that. Incredible job. Good job. Proud of you. Okay. Universe's perspective on this week. So the networking card. Marketing, influence, fame, expandable spotlight. So you are literally already adjusting your energy this last week. But I'm not going to lie, there's a little bit of a red flag here. You tell me if I'm right. If you're trying to have a new perspective and have an uncluttered life, you could just be going from one poison to another. We're just like, okay, I'm not going to do spell work anymore. I'm just going to do crystals. I'm going to do jewelry. Right? I think there's there's something here because you got this card, which is literally about the spotlight, social media, publicity. And then next to it, you got the power struggles, the assertive, the possessiveness, which creates inner demons, the elusiveness. And it can be a good energy, but I think you're just so determined to lock into your spiritual path. Again, it's a little bit stepping off of it with this. So just be mindful if the new perspective you're having is just a different form of consumption. It's not the right perspective. So let's see week 2 for this collective. Oh, 7 of Cups. That's what I mean. There's a little bit of you pivot and then it's not feeding the soul. And you go, oh, now I'm confused. Now I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And because you're trying to change an unconscious programming from capitalism that says you can just buy your way into anything, which is not true. It's creating a lack of focus and a wishfulness, shiny object syndrome, and wild imagination with, at the same time, 7 of Wands, 7 and 7. You could be a life path 7, but making a stand, facing things head on. It's my life, not backing down. So what's happening, right? Just walk with me because it's making sense now. What's happening is you're pivoting, right? Because your higher self is screaming out for you to connect to the gateway that they're opening. And because you're battling the unconscious programming in the mind of materialism and envy, your brain will naturally just pivot to a new poison, right? And that is still not settling the soul and it's making you unclear, but in your logical brain, right? Your logical brain that's still programmed, still trying to get that unconscious programming out of there, goes, no, we're making a stand. We're taking our life back. Even if it doesn't feel good, it's just new. We just have to keep going. We just have to keep doing this thing. And while those are great things to tell yourself, not when it comes to just a different modality that's still not working. There's a great, I'm hearing Alan Watts in my head when he talks about the ego. You could have listened to this, but if you haven't, go find it. I think it's called Dreams. Like the monologue that he goes on, but basically he talks about the ego and how as we heal, the ego will identify with the higher self in order to stay in control. That's what unconscious means when we talk about programming. You can't sit down in therapy or meditate or do anything to actually access the unconscious programming because it's the silent code running in the background every waking moment of our life. It just takes repetitive pattern changes to eventually rewrite that code, but I digress. He's saying he relates this ego morphing to our higher self into a metaphor about robbers in a building and then the cops coming in and chasing them. And I'm very anti-cop, but just walk with me. He says, so the first level is your conscious, right? The 3D, the programming, the where most people are when they're unawakened. And it's the sex, the money, the food, blah, blah, blah. But as the ego heals, the robbers, right, that are the ego go up a level, right? And that level then becomes the experiences and the travel and the culture and the, it's like the highbrow version of entertainment, right? The luxury, the, grind, the work ethic, whatever it is. But the soul will still not be satisfied because that's not really healing. It's just a different form of the same poison. So as the higher self, which is the cops in his analogy, goes up to that level to get the ego, which are the robbers, it goes up a level, right? And then that is going to be the education, right? The music, the poetry, the higher level of whatever that second one was. And the body goes, that's still not it. So we go up a level, and that's where spirituality and religion and awakenings and meditation and kumbaya and everything is love is love. Robbers go up to that fourth level, but you're still wanting what you wanted when you wanted fucking candy bars. That's his point, is that until you get to the root of it, you're never going to heal it. So if you're just shifting from one overconsumption to another, and you're saying, okay, I'm not going to do spells anymore. I'm just only going to meditate. I'm going to go to yoga 3 times a week, and I'm just going to sit there, and I'm going to sit under the sun, and I'm going to drink my tea. Oh, I got to go buy tea. I got to go buy a yoga mat. See how it's not going to work? I want you to make a stand for your life, but we have to pick a different modality, which is a reduction in the looking outside of oneself for answers. Again, that's going to be real uncomfortable, but it's the next step. All right, long tangent. So important for this collective, for my Pisces, because again, I know how Pisces is. I have a Pisces moon. All right, so week 2, sources opinion, sources perspective. Yeah, strike while the iron's hot. It'll be your golden ticket here. So if you can literally see this new pattern forming, which is just an old pattern rebranded, you can strike while the iron's hot and not walk down that path and spend another, 2-year, 18-month cycle repeating old mistakes, right? Taking determined action, having strength, having persistence. It's going to be a big break. It's a once in a lifetime. And they keep giving you these tickets to walk through that new gateway that they're trying to open. It's going to be something special and magical, right? So that, again, the universal energy is behind you to see, ooh, wrong direction, pivot real quickly instead of everything we said. All right, week 3. Oh, beautiful. So you do have emotional fulfillment in your sights, right? 9 of Cups. Being content, feeling good, feeling happy, feeling satisfied, but there's a little bit of a fool's rush in because you are, again, brand new to a different way of healing that you've never experienced, but that's okay. You don't have to be an expert. You're not supposed to be. If you can see the path forward in healing, then that's how you'll know that it's not actually the path for you, because if you could see it again, then you would be healed. Healing, it takes trying and failing and trying and failing and trying and failing until you find something that sticks. But the not giving up is a key element, right? So the holding back, the lack of faith, the recklessness that you're going to feel week 3 when you're like, oh, this new thing is still not working. You're really focused on emotional fulfillment, but you need to sit with yourself and be like, okay, what am I actually wanting here? Let's see what it's triggering even deeper in your shadow. Cause I think come week 3, you're going to feel like you're kind of at a loss. And you're not really going to know why. So what is being triggered week 3 for this collective? Broken ideals. Codependency. That's what it is. So the broken ideals falls in line with everything we've talked about, right? So it shows up as disillusionment, frustration, or loss when it comes to beliefs or ideals, when they're challenged or broken. Often feeling lost, struggling to make peace with reality, no longer reflects the vision you once trusted. So you went all out. You went all out on the spiritual, crystal girly, tarot, whatever it is. Your fucking house is probably decked out from top to bottom with all the things that are supposed to reflect your inner healing, right? And now you're sitting in that and you're looking around and you're going, fuck, what do I even think? This is a beautiful moment. This is a beautiful moment because, again, you could keep all those things and still carry on and use those things. Maybe put them in a drawer, put them in a box, whatever it is. But you're really getting at the core, and that is your codependency. And I've said it like several times. You looking outside of yourself for comfort, that's codependency. So it shows up as relying too much on others for validation and support, often neglecting your own needs. May involve trouble setting boundaries and feeling unworthy of love unless constantly giving, rooted in past neglect or enmeshment, right? So, and again, codependency is at the womb. It's like, so most people are codependent. Most people, right? Just the world we live in. It's really, really hard. Even me, I work on my codependency every single day. I've been working on it since I became awakened over 10 years ago. So it's just a process. And I still will sometimes catch myself in a moment where I'm looking outside of myself for answers, right? So healing is a forever thing. It just gets easier over time. And I catch myself literally in the blink of an eye. Right now, you're having the waves where it's days or weeks before you can catch yourself. So what this is going to take to heal is self-worth and love towards self, right? Understanding that there's no amount of things, and we've already said it. I know I'm harping on it, but that will make you feel complete or spiritually connected. And I find one of the easiest way to do this is to literally just talk to your guides. If you're this spiritual of a person and you're this connected of a person, why are we not talking to our guides? You can light that candle. You can mix those herbs, but why do you actually not feel the connection when you do innately? It's because you don't trust it, right? You're waiting for some sort of sign. Your signs are for you. Ask for them and then watch them come in, right? They're free. You don't have to go buy it. You don't have to register it. You don't have to, wait for a video to come up on your feed. And I really do think you should get off social media. I know that's going to be hard, but try to reduce your exposure, because as much as people think like when a reading comes to them, it's like always 100% for them. The algorithms also exist, and the newest algorithm on a specific site is really geared towards consumption. So just keep it at the forefront of your mind. Like sometimes they're signs, a lot of times they're not. But like you need to disconnect from the comparing and the envy, and you need to sit with yourself and start trusting in the things you actually are feeling and seeing, right? And I do think you need to seek all the different areas. So talking to your friends about it, maybe some traditional therapy, maybe look into microdosing, like look into like the EMDR, look into all the things when it comes to codependency and you looking outside yourself. Why do you think that you are not enough? Why do you think that, or feel like you have to have all these things around you that make you special? You're special just the way that you are. 100%. Especially Pisces. Like, I'm not kidding. You need to look up. Don't buy anything. Don't buy a book. Don't buy anything. Don't get a reading on it. Go look up. Go to your local library. Get a library card. Go read everything that you can about Pisces. Go read every single thing you can about mysticism. Like, use the resources that are available to you that you do not have to pay for. Or if you are paying for it, it's going into a public program like a library, a university, whatever it is. Do you get what I'm saying? It's going to be so fucking important, because again, you're feeling like a lack of faith, but it becomes from you don't believe in yourself. How are you supposed to believe in anything else if you don't believe in yourself? Sources perspective, week 2. Yeah. Oh, well, that makes sense. You're coming up on a Phoenix period. So and I'm sure you've been through these before, the problems, the complications, literally, it's coming to the surface so that we can burn out all of the impurities. It's the prescribed burn for the soul. You know what a prescribed burn is, right? If you're on Turtle Island, look at the indigenous practice of prescribed burns, burning away the debris, burning away the past seasons debris in order to create fertile soil for growth. That's what's happening right now in your soul. It's not comfortable. It does hurt. It does make you feel lost. It does make you feel like you have a lack of faith. It's supposed to, so that you can realign to the right path. Because right now, what you're aligned to is not actually for you. It's not your destiny. It's a catalytic for heart awakening, rising up from the ashes, a total transformation, and a complete renewal. That's epic. Yeah, I can see why it hasn't been working, because you're headed for a Phoenix period, and that's great. And they fucking hurt. Again, I want to validate that, but they are so necessary. It's like a gift. All right, week 4 for this collective. One more. Hold on, one more for this. Good. So, and because you're going through a clear and purge, the other people's opinions, the heavy partying, the heavy drinking, the overconsumption, the, time alone, the rival, like the influences, the exterior influences, you are going to start releasing your beliefs, your minimizing beliefs, and you're going to hear and trust your intuition again. You're going to start to become even more unveiled. You're going to start releasing fear and anxiety, and you're going to start regenerating yourself. You're going to start having a comeback in your life. You're going to start having a repair moment, right? You're going to start moving on from whatever's been happening for the past 3 to 6 months, is what I just heard. That's beautiful. I love that. I'm actually going to get you an archetype card too and see what archetype you're going to be sitting in towards the end of the month. So you have that to look forward to as well, because this is what it's gearing up to, right? Two for sources perspective last week. Yeah, so all the course disruptions, all the betrayal and the jealousy and the toxic silent treatment and the counterproductivity that comes from the lust and the surface level bullshit was always a course disruption. And you're really going to start to see that come the last week of July. You're going to start to see that turn of events in the soul. There's nothing externally that's going to change other than your perspective and how you walking away from things that no longer give you that 9 of Cups feeling, that emotional fulfillment, right? Because that's what your soul is crying out for. The partying and the materialism and the physical connections, anybody can have that. Anybody. Literally, it is not hard to stay on that bottom floor level in that building that we were talking about. But you are already on that 4th level. So again, you can go all the way back down and you can go in between them anytime you want, but your soul is crying for that new gateway activation. So, and that's going to create movement, full speed ahead, green light, and progress. Love that. Okay, let's just get you a couple of these. Source, how are you seeing this collective's energy right now? Ah, beautiful. You're the horse. You're building momentum so sturdy, so reliable, and so strong that you can ride on its back for the rest of your journey in the current meat suit that you're in. That is so beautiful. I love that. You're going to have the stamina, the endurance to survive. You'll never go through another Phoenix period like this. This will probably be one of your most painful, but it's really to realign you in a way that the structure you build will have stability. I love that. Let's see what archetype you're going to be in. End of June, end of July, beginning of August. The apocalypse. That's that Phoenix period, right? So you know it's coming. Oh, you know it's coming, but it's 100% necessary for growth. And you can't escape it either. Like, I'm not trying to fearmonger or unsettle you, but your higher self knows this, right? Knows this. And let's count our blessings that you don't have a divine intervention moment on the table, because I've been through a couple, okay? That's worse. So it says removing the veil of deception. Beautiful. Apocalypse indicates a particularly painful time, one that unfolds when 2 disparate dynamics occur simultaneously, pulling the psyche in seemingly opposite directions. The first is the lifting of the veil. So this could be one of your very first ascension, big ascension periods. You could only be partially awakened right now. I'm saying it'll get better. I promise. It'll get so much better. You are going to love your life when you get through this. I promise you. This means truths that have been kept in the dark are revealed, seen, and unearthed. No matter how relieving it is to witness them come into the light, an element of despair and grief follows. The second dynamic is the regeneration that comes from the wreckage of the revealed truth. Look how it perfectly aligns. That burn, that prescribed burn, the truth is going to set you free here. The old narratives break and a new story forms. Apocalypse energy is similar to a forest fire. I forgot that it said this. Sign. Devastation for the sake of regeneration. The veil lifts and we see who and what has been hiding from the nakedness of truth, and a child is born. Have faith in the process. Hold on to your center. This is the only way. The only way. Which also means no matter what happens this month, you cannot change what's coming down the pipe, because you are too special and too connected of a soul to continue on the veiled life any longer. You have a purpose, you have a mission, you have a plan that your soul signed up for. It's not my opinion. It's your soul decided. Take it up with your soul in the next life, right? Your soul knows what it's doing, so trust it. But that was the plan all along. And every single step you took that you are now trying to reconcile is a good step forward or a bad step back. You were always going to do every single one of those things to get exactly where you need to be for this month. Hugely transformational, so that your soul can find more alignment and learn these lessons once and for all and move on to a new stage of your soul's growth in the next lifetime, which is incredible and beautiful, and I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And then one day you'll be doing something like I'm doing. Maybe you'll be a reader. Maybe you'll be some sort of energy worker. Like you're clearly some sort of mystic already. And you'll be telling someone whose energy you're reading in the exact same way, almost the exact same message, but in your own words from your own experience. And you'll have that moment where you're looking back and you're like, oh my God, I remember when I was going through this, right? It's magic. It's literally magic. Oh, it's amazing. Okay, let's just get you a couple messages from Source and then I'll let you go. All right, Source, how are you guiding this beautiful collective? Purification. Stop. And look at this beautiful violet color. Purple. The crown chakra activation. And then we'll get you a number. Shift your reality. Stop. This is magic. One more. What angel is watching over this collective? Okay. So star, love, and beauty, serene, reassurance, creativity, love, sensuality, reflection, and psychic ability. You probably don't even realize how psychic you are. You're about to get so much more psychic, bestie. I help raise your vibration to the highest frequencies of joy and love to experience more passion in your life. Moonstone Friday, developing. Things are developing. Shift your reality. Luck is a mindset. Your angels want you to be ready for some lucky breaks headed your way. The apocalypse, what you're about to go through in July, it's not going to feel lucky, and it's not going to feel like a silver lining, and it's not going to feel like a blessing in disguise. And I'm not going to ask you to try to see it that way now or anytime in the future, but I'm just letting you know you will. One day you will. And that's what this card will be telling you at some point. The shifting, the reality, the luck is a mindset. You will one day believe every single word on this card. It says when you're in a negative mindset, negative forces are attracted to rein in or to reinforce it. However, when you feel lucky, forces that reinforce that feeling come in. Take several pauses throughout the day and repeat the mantra, things are always working out for me. I do that, and I do think that mantra works. The one I like more is show me how good it can get, especially if it's a really bad day. I'm like, show me how much better this day can get. Just, opening yourself up to receptivity in the universe is such a powerful tool. And then you've got this beautiful angel Lahabio, black tourmaline. Get yourself some black tourmaline. The protection, it's my favorite, literally my favorite protection stone. I like obsidian, but it's a little too fragile for me. And garnet, I just heard. Maybe get yourself some garnet because I love garnet. That is such a beautiful self-love and self-empowerment stone as well. And red, so beautiful. Okay, so purification. This is how they're guiding you. We bring you the gift of purification. This is your chance to let go of what you no longer wish to hold. It might be a toxic burden within your body, mind, or emotions you wish to be freed from so you can feel lighter, happier, and more energized and to attend to what matters most. We come to you at a time when you have become overloaded with energies, thoughts, or even perhaps physical toxins and possessions, inhibiting your capacity for joy and vibrancy. I'm not making it up. I'm not making it up. I'm not making it up. Sign. Jeez Louise. Magic. That's magic, right? If there's any fear within at the prospect of releasing something from your life, be reassured that this cleansing is a loving grace that will help you feel happier. We are not here to take anything from you, but rather to free you from what you no longer wish to hold on to. The more you're willing to allow us to assist in this process, the better and clearer you will feel. Insights into your relationships, choices in your life, and issues that may have confused you will become very clear. You will become more aware of your truths and feel empowered to live your life on your own terms. There's only benefiting to gain here, and all blessing comes straight from the loving heart of the divine to assist you. The entire universe is around you for you to become that beautiful high priestess that you already embody so deep within. So good luck.